Hello and welcome in to the last playoff race before we get to the championship race here in the Donut Box Xfinity Series. We're here at the track Too Tough to Tame, Darlington Motor Speedway, Darlington Raceway. Practice is wrapping up here, and to nobody's surprise, the 38 Cam Patterson, that Red Bull machine, he's on top of the practice leaderboard. We'll see if he can hold on to it in qualifying. Logan Festitian second fastest in practice. Christian Taylor in the 96 car, the third quickest. As these drivers get ready to qualify here, go ahead and just give you a quick reminder. This is playoff race and show you the playoff picture. Cam Patterson, Mark Parkhurst, they've already locked themselves in with wins. They don't have to worry about anything tonight. Shane Fuller, he is essentially locked in. Just not mathematically, although I think he is now that he's shown up. If he runs some laps, he's up 49 points. And there's been a bit of a shakeup in the playoffs. Cody Moore missed last week, so his playoff spot went to Ben Madden. And Ben Madden has scored enough points in the last two races that he's currently above the cut line by 1 point. When it comes to below the cut line, the 10 of Tony Osborne is 1 below, Logan Festitian 6 below, and then Frank Warner and Christian Taylor 10 and 13 points below, respectively. And you see him right there, the number 38 Cam Patterson. He's one of our two drivers already locked in. Bad fast every week for that 38 car. We'll see if he can keep it up here. So we got several cars on track. The 38 car's out there, 42 car Chris Bishop, Ryan Castleberry heading out there now, Ben Madden out there getting his laps in, Tony Osborne, the family man out there on the track, and Frank Warner, that number 9 Storm Motorsports machine, he's out there. Cam Patterson, the first to set a time with a 29.85. Frank Warner's time just under 2/10 slower. He's sitting in second. And then Ben Madden, a little bit slower than that. He's in third. Patterson coming around 3 and 4 now. He's going to set his second lap. We'll see if his second lap's any quicker than his first. Coming across the line, 29.69 for Cam Patterson. Nice. It's going to be the quickest time on the board so far early on in this qualifying session. Frank Warner, 29.77. Ben Madden, 30.123. Chris Bishop, 30.459. Mark Parkhurst, that lap ain't going to be no good. He's in catching the wall and getting a little slideways for the 04. He's got to hope that's his first lap here. 78 car Logan Festitian done with his qualifying effort, 30.218 for him. And the family man Tony Osborne puts a time on the board, 29.822, good enough for number 3 on the board right now. Everybody's favorite Canadian Mike Poole heading out on the track. Shane Fuller in that 57 machine, he's out there as well. Coming across the stripe. I think he's starting his qualifying laps now. Parkhurst coming across the stripe. We'll see if he's able to set a time this lap. No time on the board for the 04. Looks like, from the sounds of it, that's going to end his qualifying effort. No time on the board for the 04. He's going to have to work his way from the back. 96 car Christian Taylor is out there in that 5150 LLC Toyota Supra. Third quickest in practice. We'll see if he can put a good time on the board here in qualifying. He's fighting for his playoff life, coming in farthest below the cut line into this race. It is possible to make 13 points up, but you got to hope for some really good finishes over the other people ahead of you. Shane Fuller's time only good enough for 7th. For 8th rather. 8th on the board for the 57. That's not a great time there. Christian Taylor's first lap good enough for 7th. He's going to be coming through 3 and 4 here. We'll see if he can improve on that time at all. across the stripe for the 96. 30.283 does improve on his time, but does not improve his qualifying position. Ryan Castleberry not able to set a time. Therefore, Mark Parkhurst going to get himself some extra practice laps in. The 08 Pennzoil Machine Chevy Camaro of Andy Lewis heading out on the track now to start his qualifying effort. While he's doing that, we'll give you a quick recap of tonight's race. Of course, it is the Too Tough to Tame 200 miles here tonight at Darlington. 147 laps. Stages are going to be at laps 40 and 85. Fixed setups as always. One fast repair, 4 sets of tires. You know the deal if you've been here before. These drivers are going to have to likely pit for fuel during stage number 1 and stage number 2. Andy Lewis getting ready to cross the stripe, and I got a surprise for everybody here. We've actually got a special guest in the booth tonight for 2 weeks in a row, Mr. Blake Hutchinson.
What's going on, Jesse?
Oh, just getting ready to watch some people get some Darlington stripes and try to fight this track that's always a pain in the butt here on iRacing.
It should be an exciting week. You know, Darlington's always an interesting track. Now, I heard you mention earlier in the broadcast, I was working on some technical difficulties, but what's the playoff scenario here again tonight?
So we'll recap that once again. Cam Patterson, Mark Parkhurst are locked in by a win. Shane Fuller, he's plus 49. He essentially has nothing to worry about unless he absolutely finishes last, and everybody else gets 2 stage wins and whatnot. Ben Madden up by 1 point. Tony Osborne under the cut by 1 point. Logan Festitian down 6. Frank Warner down 10. Christian Taylor down 13 to the cut line with 1 race left.
So it seems to me this is a race between Madden, Festitian, and Warner.
Yep, that's what it's going to come down to. Can't forget about Tony Osborne, third on the practice list.
The family man. Can't forget about the family man.
He was actually, after the end of last week's race, I interviewed the top 3, and he was every single driver in the top 3's pick to make it through to the final 4.
Huh. Well, I'm sure Haley was excited to see that. Is Haley in the chat? I better pull up the chat. Make sure Haley's not out there. He's a big fan of watching Tony race. He's a wheelman.
Yeah, I haven't seen her in the chat yet. I see Mr. Tyler Smith out there in the chat. Unfortunately not on the track, but in the chat still pretty good. Danielle, Christian Taylor's wife, out there supporting him as always. And we got Mr. Cody Moore in the chat giving us a little race update. He says, with how few people is attending the race, that Shane Fuller is essentially safe. So we've got all these drivers essentially fighting for 1 spot tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Two minutes to go here before we get gridded up. Do you have much experience racing at Darlington, Blake? I know you've broadcasted plenty of races here.
Well, I'm not going to lie, Jesse. I don't think I've ever ran a whole race here. Not my cup of tea on the track here. Although I do know you have quite a bit of experience here, and you got some serious speed at Darlington.
Yeah, it's my home track in real life. It's only about 2.5 hours from me, so I've actually gone in person. I've gone in person, I think, 4 times now. It's always a fun track to go to. It's out in the middle of absolutely nowhere. You know how when you do the your late model broadcast at those little tiny tracks that are in the middle of nowhere? Darlington is basically that, but just a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
It is.
Now, Jesse,
there's nothing there.
When you're in the stands watching these guys wheel it around the track, are you sitting there thinking like, man, I ought to have done this since you've ran this track so much on iRacing?
Yeah, I ran it so much on iRacing, you could probably put me in a cup car, and I don't think I'd finish last, but at the same time, that's a long race. They'd have to get me another fire suit. I'd be sweating through it.
Yes, it definitely is a long race, and sometimes, in my experience at least, hopefully it's different tonight, this can be a long race to broadcast as well.
Yeah, well, our race last week, I don't think we had a single caution for a wreck. I think it went green the whole way through, other than the stages. So if we have another one like this, I'm gonna be struggling to make crap up as I go to keep talking about stuff. But we'll see what happens.
Now, Jesse, let's go ahead and put our picks in. Who's going to lock in their playoff spot? Let's just assume, Fuller's locked in. That's not going to happen. He's good to go. Now, who's going to get that last spot?
If I had to choose, I'm an underdog kind of guy, right? And seeing Frank Warner second, qualifying first on the first row, that's a lot of speed from the 9 car, and he's one of those drivers where he's done it before. His back gets against the wall, and he'll find a way to pull through and get his way into the next round. And he's only 10 points down on the cut line, so I'm gonna go with the underdog pick of Frank Warner.
Well, hopefully Frank can get it done. You know what? The fans aren't going to be happy with me, but I'm putting my pick in. Logan Festchich's locking himself in the playoffs tonight. He's overcoming all the penalties he's served this year, and he's going to put it in the Final Four.
He has definitely put together a great season in that 78 car. So if he does manage to get himself into the championship 4, that'll most likely be one of, if not the best moment of the young kid's iRacing career. So he's definitely looking to do it tonight. We'll see if he's able to.
Hope so. And I just want to throw a shout out. How about that 04 car of Mark Parkhurst? The Tide machine is looking good out here tonight.
I almost thought it was Darrell Waltrip, but then I realized it was Mark Parkhurst.
That's something I sure wish Tide would come back into NASCAR. They have always had such iconic cars throughout the years.
Yeah, Tide is definitely iconic in NASCAR, but I will say what is iconic so far in the Donut Box Xfinity Series is the 38 Cam Patterson. He's going to be starting us off with our grid walk here as he's winning the pole tonight. Frank Warner going to be starting on his outside.
In row number 2, looks like we got the family man, Tony Osborne, on the inside of the number 10 machine. 2 is outside all the way from the way down under. It's the 33 Ben Madden.
All right, row 3, we're going to have the number 78. We just talked about him, the Bass Pro Shops car. We got Logan Festchich there in the 78 with the 42 car Bell South machine, Chris Bishop, who is outside.
Starting in the 7th position, the number 96 machine from Storm Motorsports. It's your driver, Jesse. We don't want any bias up. Here's Christian Taylor. 2 is outside in the 57, Shane Fuller.
Right behind them, the 08 machine, Pennzoil. We got Andy Lewis. His outside, we got that beautiful Tide machine we just spoke about, Mark Parkhurst.
And in the final row, starting dead last in the 84, probably the ugliest car in the field. Look how big that number is. It's the Canadian Mike Poole. 2 is outside, starting dead last in the 32. Ryan Castleberry, Jesse, they're about to go green.
Yes, sir. Pace car is off. Cam Patterson going to lead them into the Geico restart zone for the first time tonight. Green flag is out here at Darlington for the last race before the championship race here in the Xfinity Series. Cam Patterson off to a good jump. Tony Osborne trying to follow him right through there on the inside, and he does to get second.
Not a good jump there from the 9 of Warner.
Yeah, we know Frank. He's always a little asleep at the wheel on starts and restarts, but we do know one thing, and that's he knows how to save tires. So we'll see if he's able to bounce back, but right now he's got Logan Festchich trying to get that spot from him early. We'll see if he's able to do it.
Yeah, and now you mentioned stage break was what lap? Was 40, 45?
Stage is going to be lap 40. Stage 2 will end at lap 85.
40 laps around here. That's a long way to go to try to not stuff it in the wall and save some tires.
Yeah, it's going to be an endurance race. It'll be interesting to see as these drivers will have to pit for fuel most likely here in stages 1 and 2 to see who's going to try to take tires and who is going to stick it out on the old tires. Mark Parkhurst is making his way by Chris Bishop, who just got loose and tagged the wall back there in the back. Shane Fuller able to get by as well.
Now, Jesse, how many laps can these guys make it on fuel here?
If I was a guessing man, which I absolutely am because I have pretty much zero info, I'm going to guess they've probably got about 35 laps to a tank. They might be able to really stretch it close, but
if I'm out here racing, my strategy, go the whole 35, do no tires, and get you some tires at the end of the stage.
Yeah, that'll be likely the strategy out of the 38 car Cam Patterson, who the 10 car Tony Osborne's not letting him get away too far or too early, but when you're farther back in the field, you start to get that inkling in your brain of wondering if it's worth taking the tires to try to pick up a few extra stage points.
Most definitely. And it looks like the fastest lap of the session just turned by the family man in the 10 car, Tony Osborne.
He's unreeling Cam Patterson, but Mark Parker's just made a hell of a move. I think he's up to 5th now. He just got by the 96 car there, Christian Taylor, who's got a train of cars behind him right now.
Yeah, it looks like they are coming. Hopefully Christian can save some tires here tonight.
Yeah, he's coming in farthest down on the cut line, 13 points back, so he's got to really capitalize and get some stage points, make sure he's finishing ahead of everybody he can.
Meanwhile, Mike Poole running in dead last right now. He just stuffed it in the wall right on cue.
Everybody's favorite Canadian might have had too much maple syrup before the race, and it might have got sticky on the wheel or something, because he's having trouble with that car. He's way back there, about 10 seconds back already, 6 laps in.
Yeah, but I will say Mike does tend to have the strategy. He does not start the races very hard. Looks like he's slower than hell, and by the time the end of the race comes around, he's actually figured it out, and he's got a decent car.
Yeah, I think he might just use the first 100 laps as practice, and then once that, once we get into the final stage, he's got it figured out and he can start making passes. But let's talk about how Tony Osborne's not letting Cam Patterson run away with this thing. He's staying within 0.3 of a second of our leader, and they've ran away from second place pretty good.
Yes, well, there are reports on pit road. The Osborne team is not happy that neither of us picked him to make it in the playoffs, so he is racing with a purpose here tonight.
Yeah, and he's also got the blinking advantage. You know, he has a Houdini effect on his opponents. He disappears and reappears, and all of a sudden they don't know where he is, and it kind of gets in their heads. So we'll see if that happens. He's within almost 1/10 of a second now, Cam Patterson.
It definitely helps out, when you're the race leader at Cam Patterson, you're looking in your rearview mirror and you see that car disappearing, reappearing. You don't know if he's going to run you over or just quarter panel you. You have no clue.
Yeah, he is definitely looking like he's got some speed for Cam Patterson tonight. And we've got Haley in the chat. She says that's our family man, and he's putting on a show here early, 8 laps in.
Haley Osborne, she's got to be jumping up and down as Tony Osborne to the back bumper, your race leader in the 38, Cam Patterson.
Now, Blake, I got to ask, you once gave me the nickname Bump and Run. When is too early to do a bump and run? Is 9 laps in when your playoff hopes are trying to stay alive? Is that way too early for a bump and run, or do you just say screw it?
Jesse, I tell you what, it is playoff racing. It is never too early to do the bump and run. If I'm Tony Osborne, I'm not only bump and running. I might just try and end the 38's race, stuff them in the wall.
That'd be one way to ensure your chances of making it in, because, I mean, they've got about a 2.5 second lead now over third place Logan Festitian back here. And they're just running away. Although the 04 Parkhurst, he's made his way to 4th. He's definitely been moving. He was the fastest last lap. So
yes, sir.
He's trying to make his way back through. But we've got to keep our attention on this battle for the lead.
Yeah, Osborne just tried to make a move to the inside, but he lost all momentum. It's a little tough here to pass once these cars are the same speed.
Yeah, as we'll ride on board the family man, Tony Osborne here, and see him try to attack Cam Patterson, try to take that lead. He does seem to get a good run out of the corners. It's just hard to pass here, so you got to choose your spots carefully.
Yeah, now, Jesse, in your experience, what's the best way to pass here in one of these Xfinity cars?
I will say the best way to pass here in Darlington, the safest way to pass is in turns 3 and 4. If you can get a run out of, like, they're going into 1 and 2 now. If you can get a good run out of turn 2 and get beside somebody, you can really send it into 3 and 4. The reason I say that's the safest is because the other way is if you get a good run coming to turns 1 and 2, you can hope the other guy backs out, or else you guys could both end up in the wall junked. So there's multiple ways, but it's not very easy.
Yes, sir. Last lap around, Festitian actually a little bit faster than both your race leaders. Festitian ran a 30.25, about a half a second better than first and second.
Yeah, we'll see. It's gonna come down a lot to tires. It has every week, and I don't think this week's gonna be any different. We got Cody Moore in the chat saying Tony may be the car to eat. I don't know about that, but he could be the car to beat as far as it comes to getting in these playoffs. Running good so far.
Most definitely. You know, your race leaders, they're out front of Festchischen. He's about 2.5 seconds behind the second position. We're going to see if Logan can maybe reel these guys in. But meanwhile, he's trying to hold off Mark Parker's in that 04 machine. Side-by-side battle for third.
Yeah, and you can see how sketchy it is trying to pass somebody through turns 1 and 2. Parker's way below the ideal racing surface. Was able to get the pass done, but Festchischen switches right back on him.
Festchischen to the inside, entering turn 1. Slide job, Festchischen into third place. The 78 car regains the position.
We'll see if the 04 is able to fight right back with a crossover of his own. It looked like he thought about it for a second, falls back behind the 78.
What a great patient move by the youngin Festchischen. You know, in the past, Festchischen might have overreacted there, stuffed it in the wall, but he made a great crossover move, gained that spot back.
Yeah, he's definitely grown a lot as a racer over the last year or so. My earliest memories of Logan Festchischen are him absolutely ass-packing the 9 of Frank Warner in a 5150 race at Charlotte Roval. He's come a long way since then. To be running third here in the final race before the championship 4 is an incredible jump for him.
You know, no love lost there. Frank Warner, not a big fan of that 78 machine. But we're going to see how this plays out here as Warner still continues to run in the 6th position for now.
It continues to be a hell of a battle here for third. Parker's looking to the inside of the 78 again into turns 3 and 4.
Meanwhile, it looks like Mike Poole came down pit road. Andrew Lewis to pit road as well.
Mike Poole, Andrew Lewis, the first 2 cars to pit road. It's going to be fuel only for the 08 of Andy Lewis. We'll stay tuned on what the 84 of Mike Poole does here during his pit stop.
Not going to lie, Jesse, it looks like Mr. Osborne might have overdone it early on, trying to keep up with that 38 machine. Then tires are jumped.
Yeah, he kept it close for a really long time, and all of a sudden Cam Patterson in that 38's grown his lead up to about almost 2 seconds now over the 10 car, so definitely changed quick.
But meanwhile, it looks like Parkhurst got back around Festchischen, seems to be leaving him, so we're going to see if Parkhurst can insert himself into this battle for the race lead.
And I'll tell you who else is sneaking his way through the field quietly. The 57 car, Shane Fuller's made his way up to 5th, and he's getting close to Logan Festchischen now for 4th. So he's putting his name in the hat. You know, it's been the same 3 guys up front all year. Cam Patterson, Mark Parkhurst, Shane Fuller. Parkhurst and Fuller both qualifying near the back. They've had to fight their way through the field, and they've done a good job of it so far tonight.
Meanwhile, Ryan Castleberry wrapping up his pit stop down pit road as well. So 3 cars have already come in, topped off on fuel.
Castleberry's actually been in his pit stall for almost 32 seconds now. Not sure what's the deal with him.
He must have some issues. I did not get an alert for a crash, so not sure what's going on there for the 32 machine.
Castleberry might have said this track sucks and parked it. Who knows?
That's probably what I would have done. But your hard charger so far, it's Mark Parkhurst, the infield New Hampshire. And he's up to 3rd, started in 10th. For all you mathematicians at home, that's 7 positions gained.
Yeah, he started, like you said earlier, he started to run away from the 78 car, kind of in no man's land right now in 3rd place is the 78 of Festchischen. He's fallen off a little bit.
Patterson down pit road.
Cam Patterson, your leader, coming down pit road here pretty early on lap 20, splitting the stage in half, saying that he doesn't expect any cautions. Tony Osborne is going to be very appreciative of that bonus point.
That is big because I don't know if Festchischen is going to be able to get himself a bonus point as the family man stuffs it into the wall coming out of the corner.
Yeah, him and everybody else, he's going to come down pit road this time. It's going to give Parkhurst the lead for now on that tied machine.
At this point, if you're Festchischen, you have to stay out there until you can lead a lap to get that 1 bonus point, because that 1 point could be the difference, making the Final Four or not.
You know, it really could be the difference. I mean, there's only 1 point separating the drivers on the cut line coming into this race. So definitely anything can happen here.
But if you're Parkhurst here, you're probably racing for the win, so he's probably not going to stay out there too long. But then again, it's probably a fuel-only stop, so it doesn't really matter when they like to come down pit road.
I will say, it seems like every week that Mark Parkhurst during stages 1 and 2 stays out as long as humanly possible. I don't know if that's just his preference. Maybe he's kind of superstitious. Like the one time he does pit early, that's going to be when a caution flies. But it seems like every week he'll stay out there lap after lap after lap and just never come down pit road until the last minute.
Well, to me, it might just be a thing from these New Hampshire guys, because I honestly did not believe anybody lived in New Hampshire until I met Mr. Mark Parkhurst in the 04 machine.
Yeah, he's definitely been one of the premier drivers this season, showing off his talent last week, getting the win. So, like you said, he's not racing for the win tonight, but, any race that you win is a good race. So he just might be trying to get the win just to prove himself and have the momentum coming into the Final Four.
Yep, and Parkhurst, he's in no hurry to pit because he is the fastest car on the track by quite a bit.
I'm trying to do some math here coming towards the end of stage number 1, so maybe I can figure out points on the fly. Tony Osborne getting that bonus point for leading the lap is essentially going to tie him with Ben Madden, not accounting for their positions on track, but Osborne was 1 point below the cut line coming into the race.
And it definitely seems like we got some team racing here. Shane Fuller could have passed this 78 car of Festitian, I think, about 10 laps ago. And I think he's purposely hanging behind him because he wants Logan to get that 1 bonus point eventually.
That could be the case. Could be some team orders there from Mighty Donut Motorsports.
But as we enter here, lap number 26. So they could go about 10 more laps on fuel if they really want to. Maybe 8 to 10, I'd say. We're going to see how long Parkhurst wants to drag this out.
Tony Osborne in the 10 machine, just to give an update, he came down and took 4 tires during his pit stop. He's the only driver to do so far. Frank Warner also coming down pit road now.
I don't know. That's a risky move. I'm not sure about that call here because we're going to have this caution here in about 13 laps or so. And then fresh tires now aren't going to look so hot after that.
Yeah, when you look at it on track, he is significantly behind the 38 of Cam Patterson when it comes to on track. So it's going to take a lot to gain any of that back. I mean, they're about half a track apart from each other.
And he's really got no options because if these guys, once they come down pit road, the whole field's going to get 4 fresh tires. If Osborne stays out there, takes the lead on 20-lap old tires, he's going to go straight to the back.
Oh, yeah. If he stays out, he's going to be an absolute standstill compared to everybody else. Christian Taylor in that 5150 machine comes down pit road for his stop now. Frank Warner in the 9 also did come down and take 4 fresh tires.
And another thing, that's going to cost Osborne a bunch of stage points possibly. So we're going to see how this plays out for him, but I'm not sure I like that call. Whoever the crew chief is there for the 10 machine might have hurt the 10's car's chances of making the Final Four.
All right, and I do have a report from the chat. As it comes to Ryan Castleberry in the 32, it appears that Castleberry did say screw this track and parked it, but he's back out there. He might have gotten convinced by his teammates, Tyler Smith, Cam Patterson, to get that car back out there, but Tyler Smith did say in the chat that I was spot on.
Meanwhile, Parker's still out there. Festitian 4.5 seconds behind. Festitian might be trying to save some fuel at this point. If Parker stays out there till the final lap, Festitian might run out of fuel as well. So he needs to try to save some fuel so he can try to get that 1 bonus point.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see. We have had situations in the past where some drivers were able to save enough fuel to make it through the stage. They might have ran out of fuel before they got to their pit stalls, but they were able to stay out and get really good stage finishes because they didn't come down to pit road.
And we're going to see how this plays out. Festitian, he wants that 1 bonus point, but you don't want to cut off your nose and spite your face here and cost yourself a bunch of stage points as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a tough choice for the 78. Again, he came in 6 points below the cut line. So he's trying to think of anything he can to make up those 6 points. And he's got some tough competition in Ben Madden and Tony Osborne that he's really got to gain some points on tonight.
You know, Tony Osborne, he's rooting for Parkhurst to stay out there to the very end. He wants that Festitian 78 machine to not lead a single lap here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Any bonus point could be the difference when you've got 4 drivers within 10 points here when it comes to the cut line. All 5 drivers left are within 13 at the moment.
That's Parkhurst down the front stretch here, heading into lap 34. Still your race leader, about 4.5 second lead. We're going to see how this all evens out, though, once he comes down pit road, because the race is going to be between him and the 38 of Patterson.
Yeah, and you can definitely see that the 04, them tires are getting a little worn. You saw him catching the fence a little bit there in 1 and 2, and he decides to bring it down pit road this lap. Let's see if the 78 is going to stay out and get that bonus point.
He better after all this. Looks like he's going to do so. 78 of Festitian coming out of turn 4. He's going to be your race leader. Give him that bonus point.
That could be all the difference tonight's playoffs.
Now, I will say, I was looking at lap times before Parkhurst came down pit road, and Cam Patterson was running about half a second better there the last few laps.
Yeah, and he's already been the only driver so far to unlap themselves that have come down pit road, so we'll keep an eye here on the 38. Festitian coming down pit road. 38 of Cam Patterson's on the front stretch now, and he's going to take back the lead fairly easily over the 04 of Parkhurst. Not really much of a fight to it whatsoever.
Yep, and Fuller down pit road as well.
Yep, Fuller exiting pit road. Fuel only for the 57. I believe the 96 of Taylor might have done a 2-tire stop. His stop was 10.4 seconds.
It wouldn't shock me because you know that 96 was roasting them good years.
Yeah, absolutely. And he has definitely been one of the drivers this year to make some bold strategy calls, and sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. We'll see how this one works out for him, though. He's on the track right now, and he's right behind the 57 of Fuller.
Good stop for Festitian. He's going to come out here in third, it looks like. He can get up to speed here and hold off Fuller and Taylor.
Yeah, it looks like that should be no problem for the 78. Fuel only for him.
Well, the 2-tire stop might have worked out. Taylor gained some spots here on these guys. I think these drivers might have just wrote down in their notebook what works for these stages. Cut it into half and get you 2 tires. I think that's the best route.
Yeah, it could be, because 4th place is looking pretty good for the 96, and he's got 3 laps here to see if he can reel in that 78 car on them old tires and maybe get his way up into the top 3 here for stage number 1.
And Jesse, this 84 of Mike Poole just absolutely annihilated the wall. Might have tore the whole thing down.
They might have to rebuild the safer barrier.
Meanwhile, Taylor looking to get around Festitian. You know Osborne wants to see it happen because Osborne's crew chief might have cost him a trip to the Final Four.
We'll see. It's lap 38, about to be lap 39. Patterson crossing the stripe now. These drivers only now coming into turn 3. He's got that big of a lead right now.
Taylor going to get the spot, take over the 3rd position. How about Christian Taylor? What a great call by the crew chief to get 2 tires on that number 96 machine.
And right behind him, his teammate in the 9, Frank Warner, going to move his way into the 4th spot here with 2 laps to go in stage number 1.
Now, Jesse, how do these stage points come down here?
It's about the same as NASCAR. The winner of the stage gets 10, then 2nd place gets 9, so on and so forth, all the way till the top 10.
Gotcha. So that's going to cost Festitian a couple points there. He was able to get the 1 for leading the lap, though, but he is going to gain at least 5 points or so on Osborne.
Absolutely. Cam Patterson in that 38 machine. He's heading into turns 3 and 4 now. White flag is out for stage number 1. As he comes out of turn 4, he's going to cross the stripe, and he's going to be the stage 1 winner by about 6.5 seconds over the 04 Mark Parkhurst.
I tell you what, I don't know how that 84 is still rolling. He has been knocking the wall down every single lap these last 5 laps.
Well, you know, those Canadians are resilient. Mark Parkhurst gets second in stage 1. Christian Taylor in the 96 third. Frank Warner fourth. Logan Festischen fifth. Shane Fuller gets sixth place. Andrew Lewis seventh. Eighth goes to Ben Madden. Ninth to Christopher Bishop. And 10th to the family man of Tony Osborne.
So, folks, to my math here, looks like Festishen's going to have about a 4-point lead on Osborne for that final spot right now.
Let's go ahead and bring him on up, the man that just won stage number 1, Mr. Cam Patterson. Cam, it's Jesse and Blake up in the booth. Do you got a copy?
It's muted. Yeah, I do.
Hey, man, getting stage 1 win by about 6.5 seconds. Definitely flying out there compared to everybody else. How's that 38 car machine driving tonight?
Pristine, I tell you. I mean, this thing is honestly amazing. I always love this track, which is kind of ironic because I usually don't really like these difficult tracks, but Darlington has always been I've always been quite the fan of Darlington, and as it shows tonight, this is why. You know, it's super fun, especially during the nighttime. Car had a bunch of grip. It's way better to drive during the nighttime, and yeah, I was just out there running laps. Had Tony behind me for a little bit, but I definitely knew that he was gonna fall off because of tires, and so I was just like, you know, let him fight, whatever, and he did end up falling off, and the pits got me super ahead, so it's pretty nice.
Yeah, you're definitely looking strong here so far. Blake, do you got anything for the 38 of Patterson?
You know, not much. He definitely looks to be the car to beat. You know, Parkhurst has some speed. Looks like Osborne had some speed shortly there, but I think he burned his tires up trying to keep up. So great job out there, Cam. Good luck the rest of this one.
Thank you, Blake. I appreciate it. It's good seeing you, man.
You too, buddy.
All right, and while Mr. Patterson was talking there, I added up the stage points. And it looks like, according to my math, Ben Madden is still above the cut right now by about 2 points. But only 2 points separates him and Tony Osborne right now. Logan Festischen tied with Tony Osborne for 2 points below the cut line. And then Frank Warner, Christian Taylor making up good ground. Only 8 points separating our 5 drivers fighting for the final spot right now.
Definitely interesting. I thought I heard that Osborne was up 1 point on Festischen going in, so I think that's why my math was off.
He was up 5 points going in.
That's what threw me off. So that makes sense. Now, I do see in the chat, Cody Morse, he believes Ben is up by 3 points. You had him up by 2. So nonetheless, either way, it's a close race. Tony and Logan definitely appear to be tied.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting race. These drivers getting ready to line back up. I imagine you've got a race to get ready to go broadcast.
Yep. Yeah, we got our Thursday night race here coming up soon, so I'm going to hop out. But, hey, best of luck for the rest of this race. Looks like it's going to be an exciting one, and we're going to see who locks himself into the Final Four here tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming out and hanging out with me, Blake.
Yes, sir.
As the pace car is heading into turn 3, we're getting ready to go back green. Storm Motorsports leading the way on the front row. Frank Warner, Christian Taylor make up row 1. Cam Patterson, Mark Parkhurst, row 2. Logan Festischen, Shane Fuller, row 3. Everybody else falls in behind on the bottom lane. Frank Warner going to lead him into the restart zone in that Storm Motorsports Toyota Supra. Green flag back out at Darlington. Warner gets a great jump. 04 Parkhurst able to follow him right through. 96 of Christian Taylor. Shane Fuller's going to get around him now, most likely for third place. The 96 going to try to put up a fight, though. Patterson trying to get his nose on the outside. As Parkhurst trying to make his way by the 9 of Frank Warner. Frank Warner on old tires. He only took fuel during that pit stop. We'll see how long he's able to hold off the 04. And yes, Cody, I am accounting for laps led in my points. Parkhurst looking to the inside of the 9. The 9 gets turned. Both cars sliding. We're likely going to stay green here since no one went around. That's definitely going to be some big implications on this race. Let's go back and take another look at what happened there. Coming out of turns 3 and 4, Parkhurst looks underneath the 9 of Warner. Just ends up catching his rear quarter panel. Kind of straightens him back out. They both slide, but they are able to regain it and keep it going. It's going to put the 9 of Warner way back in 9th place. But it's going to put the 57 of Fuller out to the lead. Parkhurst drops all the way back to 8th due to that incident. And we've got a battle we've seen multiple times this season right now. Shane Fuller has the lead. Cam Patterson, that 38 machine, trying to take it from him. They're first and second right now. Logan Festischen kind of in no man's land here in third, no one around him. You go back to Chris Bishop in 4th place right now. He's got the family man Tony Osborne behind him in the 10 car. Looking to get by the 42 car right now. Christian Taylor's dropped back to 6th. He's got Parkhurst looking to get by him though to take that 6th spot, and he does. Parkhurst to 6th, Taylor to 7th, Ben Madden in 8th. Frank Warner 9th, Mike Poole 10th. We turn our attention back to the lead. Right now, Shane Fuller able to hold on to it. They just put the 08 to Andy Lewis now 2 laps down. We'll keep our eye on this battle for the lead. But the 10 car, Tony Osborne, he's made his way by the 42 car of Chris Bishop. He's going to take the 4th spot over. And Mark Parkhurst gets by the 42 as well to take the 5th spot. Bishop now back to 6th in that 42 machine. Osborne had a really strong run there in stage 1. We'll see if he's able to continue it here in stage number 2. But right now, Shane Fuller leading the way. His lead's now up to about half a second over the 38 car, Cam Patterson. And with that, we're going to go ahead and take our first break before these drivers start to take their pit stops here in stage number 2. And we'll be back with you here shortly. On lap 56, we've still got a real close race for the lead right now between the 57 of Fuller and the 38 car, Cam Patterson. These two have really ran away from everybody else. Logan Festischen in third is about 3.5 seconds back from your leader, Shane Fuller, who got loose there. Cam Patterson going to pounce on that, and he's going to make the pass into 3 and 4. Slide on up the track, cover up the spot New leader is going to be the 38 of Patterson. Shane Fuller going to fall back into that second spot. Logan Festischen again, close to 4 seconds back from these two leaders now. He's kind of in no man's land. The 08 of Andy Lewis behind him is a lap down. Frank Warner, first car to come down pit road here in green flag conditions. He's going to take 4 fresh Goodyear tires. You go back to Tony Osborne here in 4th. He's getting challenged from Mark Parkhurst into turns 3 and 4. Parkhurst looking to take that 4th spot away from Tony Osborne. And he is going to cover up the spot. Parkhurst up to 4th, Osborne to 5th. Chris Bishop in the 42 car sits in 6th place at the moment. And then you've got about 4 seconds back to Ben Madden in 7th. Behind him is Christian Taylor in the 96 machine. He is in 8th right now with Mike Poole, everybody's favorite Canadian, way back here in 9th. Really out here by himself right now. Patterson has been able to run away now from Shane Fuller got a lead up to about a 2nd and 3/10 pretty quickly here on lap 59. Of course, the end of stage 2 is going to be into lap 85 tonight. Closest battle for position on track is between the 04 of Mark Parkhurst and the 10 of Osborne. But the closest cars on the track are right here. The 78 of Logan Festischen, he's got the lapped car Andy Lewis behind him. But the fastest car on the track that previous lap was the 04 of Parkhurst. He's looking to make his way up to these leaders, but he's going to have to work hard to do it. He's about 4.5 seconds back. He's going to have to really put some scorchers down to make up that amount of time, especially because Cam Patterson's lap wasn't much slower than his. '96 car Christian Taylor makes his way to pit road now. We'll see what he's going to do for pit strategy. I will tell you that if stage 2 ends the way it is right now, that would put the 78 of Festischen above the cut line by about 3 points. '96 of Christian Taylor did take 4 fresh Goodyear tires under that pit stop. But he's going to have to unlap himself here from the 38 of Cam Patterson. As currently the 96 has scored 2 laps down, as well as the 08 of Lewis and the 9 of Warner. All scored 2 laps down currently. Parkhurst in the 04 was able to get by the 78 of Festischen to move up into 3rd. Festischen to 4th. And Tony Osborne, you saw him just for a second there on the right-hand side of your screen. He's not far behind as the 78 of Festischen going to dip down to pit road. Mike Poole in the 84 also coming down to pit road just ahead of the 78. And this is where the strategy is really going to start to change things. Your tire call, your fuel call can be the absolute difference in between advancing into the championship 4 and watching. Well, this ain't like any other sports playoffs where you get to watch from home. You still have to go to the track and know that you were this close to fighting for a championship and weren't able to go through into the next round. Cam Patterson to the 38 relinquishes the lead, comes down pit road, as well as the 08 of Lewis. It's going to give back the lead to the 57 of Shane Fuller. Parker's not far behind. Less than a second now is the lead for Shane Fuller. The 78 of Festitian does take 4 fresh Goodyear tires here during his pit stop. 38 of Patterson goes fuel only for his. Tony Osborne, the family man, he comes down to pit lane. All these drivers' pit cycles starting now. Parkhurst now within the 0.3 to 57 of Fuller, who's going to come down to pit road this time, give the lead back to the Tide machine of Mark Parkhurst. As far as drivers that have led laps tonight that are in the playoff hopefuls, Tony Osborne, Logan Festitian, and Franklin Warner have all managed to lead laps so far. Franklin Warner was able to lead a lap just before the restart to this stage with his fuel-only pit strategy. Parkhurst continuing to stay out. The 10 car of Osborne's pit stop was only 9.2 seconds. May have been a 2-tire stop for the 10 car. I'm not 100% sure. I think it is a 2-tire stop as well for the 57 of Fuller. 10.6 second pit stop for the 57. As Parkhurst continues to stay out and just tick away laps. We've got about 15 laps to go here in stage number 2. No cautions yet so far tonight in the Too Tough to Tame 200. It's been a very clean race outside of an incident between Parkhurst and Warner. Your fastest car on track the last lap was the 10 car there, Tony Osborne. This lap, it was the 78 of Logan Festitian. So a lot of these guys that came down pit road and took tires, they're running some quick laps right now, but it'll all come down to where they finish here in stage number 2. And then especially where they finish in the final stage as to who's going to make it through in the final transfer spot. Once again, Mark Parkhurst, Cam Patterson, they're right here on your screen. They're both already locked into the championship 4. They've got nothing to worry about tonight. Shane Fuller in the 57, he's essentially locked in via points, so he doesn't have anything to worry about. And according to my math, only 8 points separate after stage 1. The fight for the final transfer spot. Christopher Bishop in the 42 car. He's going to make his way down pit road. And we've got an absolute gaggle of cars here. Ben Madden, Tony Osborne, Mike Poole, Logan Festitian all right here in a group. Madden into the wall. That's going to slow him down. The 78 of Festitian. Great job avoiding contact there with the 33. It's another thing these drivers have to think about that's really hard to calculate. Is there is a bonus for finishing a race without a single iRacing incident. So dodging a little thing like that, Ben Madden getting into the wall, Festitian dodging him, that could be the difference between Festitian making it through to the next round or not. It could be something as little as that. Parker's continuing to run laps here. Cam Patterson continuing to stay behind the 04 here as we're officially at our halfway point tonight. Thank you for that, Cody. I will pull that up so I have that resource. Give me just a moment. Many thanks to Cody Moore providing us with some live scoring here. I'll be able to keep an eye on that. Patterson able to get by Parkhurst to get his lap back. The only driver to unlap himself so far. Whoa, Parkhurst getting loose there, able to keep it straight. Bit of a scary moment there for the 04. Ben Madden in the 33 car, he's yet to pit. He's still staying out there. He's technically second right now, but he still has one more stop he's got to make. We've got 8 laps to go here in stage number 2. Patterson leads the way of the cars that have come down pit road. Tony Osborne behind him. They're about a straightaway apart. Tony Osborne likely on 2 tires his last lap. Almost a second faster than the 38 of Patterson's. We'll have to see if the 10 car of Osborne's able to reel in your leader and take that spot for the stage, but the 78 car Festischen is right there on his tail. Festischen, 4 fresh Goodyear tires for him compared to Osborne's 2. As Parkhurst does come down pit road now, as well as Ben Madden. That's going to let Cam Patterson take back over the race lead, but right now we're going to stay tuned to this battle for second, because this is the most important battle right now. These are 2 of the drivers fighting for that final spot. After stage 1, these drivers were tied. 2 points below the cut line, so right now, Osborne gains a point on Festischen if this stage were to end right now. So you know the 78 of Festischen, although these 2 are teammates, I think playoffs goes above teammates whenever y'all are tied and both have an equal shot to get in, so we'll have to keep a really good eye on this battle. The 96 car of Taylor, he's fighting for his playoff life. He's sitting here in 5th right now. He's got Shane Fuller breathing down his neck. Fuller only took 2 tires to Taylor's 4, but Taylor's 4 tires are 7 laps older. Festischen able to get by the 10 car of Tony Osborne as soon as I tune away. Festischen takes over the 2nd spot, Osborne into 3rd. As we've got about 5 laps to go here in the stage, Festischen catches the wall a little bit. Osborne still keeping the fight to him. Shane Fuller in the 50 save when able to get by the 96 of Taylor. Taylor going to drop back to 6th place now. Cam Patterson's lead is shrinking with about 4 laps to go in the stage. Festischen only about 2.5 seconds back. Is there enough time to reel in Patterson here? Or is Patterson going to sweep the stages? Keep in mind, either way it goes, this is going to be really, really good stage points for the 78 and the 10. We'll have to keep our eye on this battle because this could be the battle that decides everything. I know I sound like a broken record, but just to repeat it, these drivers currently tied in points at the end of stage 1. Here at the end of stage 2, one of them will be in position for that final championship 4 spot. As you see Osborne scraping the wall through 3 and 4, that's going to give Festischen a pretty good gap here to work with. We'll see if the 10 car is able to fight back. They're creeping up on the 38 of Patterson, but I do think they're going to run out of time. As Patterson goes into turns 3 and 4, it's getting ready to be white flag for stage number 2. As this is a hell of a battle between these two Mighty Donut Motorsports drivers in the 10 and the 78. Coming onto the backstretch for the final time in stage number 2. Does Tony Osborne have anything left? Doesn't look like he will. Cam Patterson takes stage number 2. Logan Festischen second. Tony Osborne third. Mark Parkhurst holds on to 4th over Shane Fuller in 5th. Christian Taylor takes the 6th spot. Christopher Bishop in the 42 car takes 7th. Frank Warner is going to have 8th. Ben Madden 9th. Mike Poole gets the 10th spot here in stage number 2. As we've currently got live scoring taking place. Let's go ahead and have a quick chat. We've already talked to Cam Patterson, so let's have a chat with the guy that finished second here in stage number 2, Logan Festischen. Logan, it's Jesse up in the booth. Do you got a copy?
I got you.
Well, we've already talked to Cam Patterson. Now he swept both the stages, but you're coming in with a strong P2 here in stage number 2. Good enough, we think, to put yourself 1 point above the cut line coming into the final stage here. How does it feel for that 78 machine?
It feels good, but I know Tony's faster, so unfortunately I am going to have to drive a little defensive. But there's no one I'd rather be battling than my awesome teammate.
Yeah, absolutely. You had a great finish to stage number 2. Congrats on finishing second in the stage. Hopefully you can finish out strong, find yourself in the final 4.
Yep, I'm trying my best.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Quick chat there with the 78. Staying calm under pressure, hopefully. As right now, it looks like he's going to be 1 point to the good, 1 point ahead of Tony Osborne for that final championship 4 spot at the end of stage 2. Ben Madden, 5 points below the cut line, with Frank Warner, Christian Taylor tied 10 points below the cut line. Patterson leads the way off of pit lane. Mark Parkhurst comes off second. Logan Festischen third. Shane Fuller 4th. Tony Osborne 5th. And with that, we're going to take another quick break before we go back green here in the final race before the championship race here in the Donut Box Xfinity Series. Cam Patterson in the 38 machine choosing the outside. He's going to lead them through turns 3 and 4 here. Pace car dips off as we get ready to go back to green flag racing here at Darlington. Patterson, Festischen, row 1. Parkhurst, Fuller, row 2. Green flag is back out. 38 car. Patterson gets a good jump. The 78 of Festischen does a decent job restarting on the inside. He's going to be able to cover up for that second spot. And the battle for third is between Parkhurst and Fuller going into turn 1. These drivers stay side by side all the way through turns 1 and 2. Still side by side down the backstretch. Tony Osborne, even if he wanted to get by, he has no way of doing it right now. Still side by side through turns 3 and 4 for these two. Parker's going to take the spot. Osborne going to take the spot as well as Taylor in the 96 gets next to Fuller here. Is the 96 going to be able to take the spot as well over the 57? This is going to be for 5th. 96 car checks up and lets the 57 fall into line here in 5th. Patterson and Festischen 1st and 2nd. Parkhurst in 3rd. Osborne 4th. Shane Fuller in 5th. Cam Patterson up there in the lead, already locked in to the championship race. If Logan Festischen, the 78, can keep this second spot, that'll book his ticket into the championship for him. Of course, Shane Fuller of MDM already in to the Final Four. Logan Festischen, Tony Osborne fighting to be the second MDM driver to make it into the Final Four right now. Everybody getting pretty spread out here early in the final stage. 54 laps to go here at Darlington Raceway. Been a fairly uneventful race so far tonight. Everybody giving as well as they're taking. Everybody being respectful, I should say. Of course, at the end of stage 2, Franklin Warner, Christian Taylor, both 10 points below the cut line. That essentially eliminates any chance that they have to get in other than to find a way to win this race with some sort of strategy call. But we've seen both of those drivers make some questionable strategy calls that work out in the end, as we've got a big old cluster happening back here. Ben Madden able to get by the 96 of Taylor for 6th. Of course, Taylor's got a couple cars right behind him, the 42 of Bishop and the 9 of Warner, all right here in a group. This is your 6 through 9 battle. As we turn our attention back towards the front, Parkhurst has caught the 78 of Festischen now. Just to remind you right now, Festischen in by 1 point. The only thing that's impossible to be 100% sure of is if any of these drivers have any incidents. There is a 0x bonus. Parker's putting a lot of pressure on the 78 car right now. Of course, he has nothing to worry about as far as the Championship 4 goes, but he can definitely shake up who's going to make it in. As he is right on the bumper now of Festischen. You heard the 38 of Patterson scrape the wall a little bit, and you saw the 10 car Tony Osborne at the top of your screen scrape it just a little bit. He's under a lot of pressure from his teammate in the 57, Shane Fuller. There's also a little bit of a fight going on back here between the 33 and the 96. That battle's still brewing for 6th right now. Everybody was getting kind of spread out, and now we've got three pretty distinct battles The main one we're going to keep an eye on, though, is this one for second place. All right, we're getting word from Mr. Cody Moore in the chat. There's no 0x bonus in Xfinity, so we don't have to worry about that. That makes our jobs a little bit easier. I will say it seems like this final championship spot is going to come down to the wire with 48 laps to go. These drivers are going to have to come down pit road one more time. They're going to have to make sure they nail their pit stops. If they slide through their box, if they make the wrong strategy call, there's multiple different ways that it could go downhill for any of these drivers out here. As though Ford Parker's going to make the move for second into turns 3 and 4. They stay side by side coming out of the corner. Still battling. Festitian has it by a nose across the stripe. Parker's not going to give up any room, though. Looks like Festitian going to hold on to that spot for now coming out of turn 2. He scrapes the wall. That's going to open it up again for Parkhurst. Going to dive to the inside one more time. Parker's trying real hard to get that P2 spot right now. Deja vu. As a 78 catches the wall, it's going to seal it for him. Parker's to second, Festitian to third. Shane Fuller in the 57 was able to get by the 10 of Tony Osborne. Puts Osborne back to 5th. Ben Madden holding on to that 6th spot, but it wouldn't be enough for the 33. For him to have a chance to get in this final 4, he'd have to finish better than Festitian and Osborne. So right now he is on the outside looking in. 96 car, Taylor. Really giving him a battle here. These drivers have been close pretty much for the entire final stage so far. I think the 33 and the 96 are magnetically attracted to each other as much as they find themselves on the track. Osborne dives to the inside of Fuller. He's going to take back that 4th spot. That puts the final 4 bid to 2 points now. Festitian, if the race ended right now, would be in by 2 points over Osborne. If Osborne can get by the 78, I believe they would be tied. And according to the stats guy, aka Cody Moore, Tony has the tiebreaker over Logan if that is the case. Still a battle brewing between the 96 and the 33. Madden pulling a bit of a Houdini act out of his pocket to be able to keep the spot. Taylor probably backed off not knowing where the 33 car was. Said he didn't want to find himself wrecking him knowing he's not there. It's right on board with the 96 of Taylor as he battles with Ben Madden here. He's going to take the spot from the 33 of Madden. Madden backed way out of it when the 96 got to the inside. Taylor following up by scraping the wall there in 3 and 4, adding another Darlington stripe to the wall. And now Madden's got Frank Warner right behind him to contend with. We'll see if Madden's able to hold him off. As far as the lead goes, Cam Patterson has dominated this entire race pretty much. It hasn't been talked about a whole lot because he's already locked in and there's a close battle for the final championship spot. But the 38 has done a fantastic job tonight of just hitting consistent laps, staying out front. And he's ran away at this race pretty much. He swept both the stages and he's up to about a 3.5 second lead over the 0-4 of Parkhurst in second right now. Festitian holds on to third by a pretty large margin over Tony Osborne. About 2.5 seconds there between those two drivers, I believe. With 38 laps to go, the pit window is close to opening here for the final stop of the race. And that'll be the most crucial moment for a lot of drivers. All it takes is one pit road mistake, if you're Tony Osborne or Logan Pestician, to ruin your chances of making it into the final four. While we're waiting on pit stops to happen, let's go ahead and admire some of our throwback paints for coming to Darlington here. Of course, Mark Parkhurst rocking the Tide machine, a throwback to the old Darrell Waltrip cars. I always think of the 32 car. I think it was Ricky Craven. Always drove the Tide machine. I remember that from the famous Darlington photo finish of that Tide car. 78, Logan Pestician. I believe his car is a throwback to a very early Martin Truex Jr. paint. I could be on crack, but I think that's what it is. Tony Osborne's car. I don't know if it's a specific throwback, but it kind of reminds me of an old Dale Earnhardt car. Shane Fuller, not cool enough to run anything different. Christian Taylor in a new livery this week, repping 5150 LLC. Frank Warner, his teammate there, in his usual Storm Motorsports blue. Ben Madden, the Haas Factory team paint. And Chris Bishop in the 42. That's an old school paint there as he scrapes the wall. I kind of like the number style with the offset numbers there on that car. I think that's pretty cool looking. And then, of course, you got everyone's favorite Canadian, Mike Poole. As big a number as they would allow on the side of that car. Patterson continuing to tick off laps from the lead, up to about 4.5 seconds now is his lead. He's looking to put the 08 of Lewis potentially 5 laps down, although Lewis did just pit and take 4 fresh tires. So he shouldn't be under any threat of being lapped by the 38 here. Mark Parkhurst is staying pretty comfortably in second. Same thing for Logan Pestician in third. Still a battle brewing between the 10 and the 57. This is for fourth right now. The 9 car Frank Warner comes down pit road for his final stop of the race with 31 laps to go here in tonight's race. Warner may be hoping he can undercut the field here and have some sort of miracle happen. You see the 10 car Osborne, he vouches to come down pit road now. Mark Parkhurst in the 04 to pit road as well as the 78 of Logan Pestician. We'll keep an eye on these pit stops. The most important stop of the race for these drivers. Looks like Pestician into his box, no problem. Same for Tony Osborne. No issues there. Cam Patterson makes his way to pit lane. That's going to give the lead to Shane Fuller now. All these drivers make their way off of pit road. 29 laps to go. As long as Festischen can stay consistent and stay ahead of Osborne, he's going to drive his way into the championship 4 after coming into this race 6 points below the cut line. Fuller comes down pit road now. He's going to let the 96 car Christian Taylor lead his first lap of the race, get himself an extra point. He's going to bring it down pit road, and that's going to let the 33 car Ben Madden lead his first lap of the race and get an extra point. Once Ben Madden pits, the lead will go back over to the 38 of Patterson once again. Everybody taking 4 tires under their pit stops, except for the 9 of Warner and the 84 of Mike Poole. Both of those drivers, 2 tire stops. As Parkhurst unlaps himself from the 33 car here. As Ben Madden bringing it down to pit road. Not sure if he's going to get a pit entrance violation from hitting that cone there. Not 100% sure on that. But that's going to let the 38 of Patterson take back a massive lead here up to about 6 seconds over the 04 of Parkhurst. And the 78 of Festischen is comfortably in third right now, as he gets by the 84 lapped car Mike Poole there. As 84 Poole getting loose, able to save it. That was close to bringing out our first caution of the night, but the Poole was able to gather it back up. Shane Fuller in fourth right now, having a quiet race, already locked into the final 4, so he has nothing to worry about here. Frank Warner's bid for his championship hopes looking like they're going to come to an end here. Him and the 96 of Taylor going to need a miracle here if they're going to get anywhere. And the 33 car Ben Madden, he's been in his box now for about 45 seconds, so I think he did suffer a penalty because of that pit road entrance. So that basically ends any hopes the 33 car might have had. Yes, a 53-second pit stop for the 33 car. So your battle for the final spot does come down to the 78 car of Festischen and the 10 car of Tony Osborne. And all Festischen has to do is finish ahead of the 10 car, and he is into the championship 4. With 22 laps to go here, we're going to go ahead and take our final break of the race. If you're out there watching, go ahead and hit that like button. Get the stream out here to everybody you know. That like button helps the algorithm, helps boost the stream to new viewers. If you like what you're seeing and want to see more, hit that subscribe button, because we'll be live next Thursday to crown a champion here for Donut Box Xfinity Series Season 2. As we're back here with you live, 12 laps to go here in the Too Tough to Tame 200 here at Darlington Raceway. Cam Patterson in that 38 machine is on autopilot right now. 7.5 second lead for the 38. Well on his way with 12 laps to go to get his 8th win on the season. And the second win of the round of 8 for the 38 machine. Mark Parkhurst comfortably in second right now, but the most important position on the track is the 78 car there of Logan Festchischen. He's got Tony Osborne about a straightaway behind him. And as long as he can stay ahead of the 10 car, he will find his way into the championship 4. Shane Fuller in the 57 car continues to ride in 4th, and the aforementioned Tony Osborne in 5th place right now. He's got Christian Taylor in the 96 car right behind him there. Frank Warner rides in 7th with Chris Bishop in the 42 car in 8th. 9th goes to Ben Madden, 2 laps down at this point, and 10th in pit lane is everybody's favorite Canadian, Mr. Mike Poole. Nine to go here. And Cam Patterson has managed to sweep both the stages tonight during an absolutely perfect performance from the driver of the 38 tonight. I believe the only time anyone else led laps was under pit cycles. But he is absolutely on cruise control right now, as well as the 04 Parkhurst there in second. Both of those drivers were locked in coming into the race tonight, so they had nothing to worry about. In the 96 car, Taylor showing a little bit of speed on the 10 of Osborne. If he can get by the 10 of Osborne into 5th place, we'll see what can happen. The 96 car hard into the wall, though, going to set him back. Seven laps to go. Let's ride on board with the leader, Cam Patterson, as he looks to put Christopher Bishop and potentially Frank Warner a lap down here. Five laps to go here tonight. Patterson absolutely making it look easy, as he definitely has the capability to do every week. I don't own a sports book, but if I did, he would definitely be the favorite for the championship. Although the other drivers joining him in the championship for Mark Parkhurst and Shane Fuller have shown an ability to win a race when they need to. Of course, the 78 of Festchischen looking to make his way to the Final Four as well. No wins for him on the season. But he has some speed. We'll just see if he's able to find it when it counts. Of course, the final race of the season will be next week at Homestead, Miami. Always a great track, great racing. So it'll definitely be a super fun event. 2 laps to go as he comes across the stripe for Cam Patterson. His lead now up to about 9 seconds. An entire straightaway separates the 38 and the 04 for first and second. Of course, a caution-free race tonight, as has become the norm almost for the Xfinity Series. Four more corners for the 38 car on his way to his 8th win on the season. White flag is out here at Darlington. Absolutely no pressure here. At 38 of Patterson showing it does not matter to him if he's already locked in. He's still going to come out and take the win. Win number 8 on the season. Cam Patterson taking home the W here at Darlington. Mark Parkhurst going to take home P2, but probably the most important spot of the night. Logan Festitian comes from 5 points below the cut line and races his way into the championship 4, finishing 3rd here tonight. Shane Fuller gets 4th. Tony Osborne in the number 10 car is going to get 5th. And it's a hell of a battle for 6th. Frank Warner across the stripe in 6th. Christian Taylor 7th. Christopher Bishop takes the 8th spot. Ben Madden's going to be 9th. And Mike Poole gets 10th sitting on pit lane. As Cam Patterson burns it down for the 8th time this season. You know, maybe Cam Patterson is running a bit of a throwback car tonight. That kind of reminds me of the early Red Bull machines in NASCAR. But he takes home win number 8 on the year. Let's go ahead and talk to the man who drove himself into the Final Four, finished 3rd tonight, Logan Festitian. Logan, it's Jesse up in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you, Jesse.
Well, of course, nothing is official yet, but unofficially, you have driven your way into the Final Four tonight. How does it feel?
Yeah. Oh, it feels great. If you told me at the beginning of the season I'd be here competing for a championship in Homestead, I wouldn't believe you, and I'd tell you you're crazy, and I think 99% of people in league would too, but some way, somehow we did it, and yeah.
Yeah, you did exactly what you needed to do tonight. You came into this race, I believe, down 5 points on the cut line. 6 points, down 6 points. My apologies.
Ben was holding the last spot going into this race.
Yeah, absolutely. But you were down 5 points to Tony Osborne. You're able to just chip away at that through stages 1 and 2 and then run a perfect final stage. Good enough to finish 3rd here. All the congratulations to you. And do you have any shout outs you want to make tonight?
Shout out to Tony. You know, we had a hell of a race for the time we were around each other, and you know, we were both trying to play our strategy throughout the race. So I wish both of us could make it here. Unfortunately, it's not the championship 5, but hell of a season to him, and I look forward to racing with him next week at Homestead as well. Shout out to my mom for putting up with me as usual. My team owner and all my teammates, Cody Moore, and then Shane, and yeah. And then shout out to my buddy Terrence. I know he's watching. Championship 4, baby. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations to you, and we can't wait to watch you battle out with Cam, Mark, and Shane at Homestead next week. Hell of a job to fight your way in, and congratulations to you, Logan Festitian.
Thank you, and go Bills, go Eagles.
Oh, Jesus. All right. I wasn't planning on talking to this man, but since he's hanging out and he's going to be in the championship 4 next week, I see him right there in the 57. We'll go ahead and have a chat with him. Shane, it's Jesse up in the booth. Do you got me?
what's up, bud?
Hey, man, I see you're sitting out here on the track. You finished 4th tonight. You were locked in on points for the championship 4 just pretty much by showing up. So how does it feel knowing you're going to head into the next week fighting for the championship?
It's feeling really good after tonight. Tonight was kind of a struggle. I logged in late. I forgot what time we actually started practice, so I didn't get to do any practice. The only practice I had was qualifying, and it showed. But other than that, I mean, the car felt really good. It was pretty tight all night, so I did a couple of things with strategy. The last run there, I ran 2 tires, and it loosened up the car a lot, and I was staying pretty much up there with the times with the guys on 4 tires. So it's an okay night. So we'll just see what we can do next week to finish this off.
Absolutely. Do you have anything to say about being kind of the man in the middle there for most of that race between Tony Osborne and Logan Festischen, both fighting for that final spot in the championship 4?
I mean, I was trying to do, like you said, all I had to do is pretty much sign my name at the beginning of this race, and I was in the championship 4. So just trying to help those guys in any way that I could. I know that Tony and I were battling a little bit there at the end of that stage. But I don't think it was anything that was kind of putting us at any danger or putting him in any danger. So whoever was in front of me, I was going to try and help out. And Logan just did everything he had to do, and he just took off. So it gets a little awkward sometimes when you have that happen and, you're the middleman, like you said. But, you just try to do everything you can to help either one of them out.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see you next week when you go ahead and battle for the championship here in the Xfinity Series Season 2. Do you have any shout-outs you want to make before I let you go tonight?
Man, everybody that watches and comes in and supports us, thank you very much. It's been a long season. We got one more to go. So tell everybody, tell your friends, your parents, anybody to come watch us next week. We know it's not that big of a field, but it is pretty tight battle between, five guys are pretty much close to battle in there. So next week, obviously, it's 4. So thanks for everyone that comes in to watch. Thank you, Jesse, for doing the broadcast. I'm not sure if my dad's watching or my wife and my daughter, but thank you guys. Love you. And, everyone at MDM, we did everything we could to try and get as many cars into the chase. So I think we've accomplished a good amount of that. And, thanks to Cody for putting the league on, and then all the admins that do everything. It's kind of hard keeping everybody in check and doing all the points and everything like that throughout the season. So just thanks to everybody that's got a part in this,
All right. Well, we'll see you next week as you fight for the championship, and congratulations on making it to the Final 4, Shane Fuller.
Awesome. Thank you, buddy.
Let's go ahead and talk to the Tide machine here in the 04. Mark Parkhurst continuing a strong run after the win last week, finishing 2nd tonight. Mark, it's Jesse up in the booth. Do you got a copy?
I got you.
Well, we're back here getting interviewed again. P2 this week after a win last week to lock yourself into the championship 4. How does it feel tonight getting 2nd?
Could have been better, should have been better, but my only practice were my qualifying laps and a couple laps after, so with as much effort as I threw into this, I can't be too upset at the result. And I can't hear myself think of people talking in chat.
I can hear that too. Who knows what they're talking about, but it sounds like you had a very similar practice to Shane Fuller. He said he actually forgot what time the practice started, so that's kind of a surprise. I mean, he's only been showing up for 18 weeks, but oh well, it is what it is.
Yeah, I had the same problem. I had to ask when it was because I got home a little late, but I knew all I had to do was show up, so I made it time through a couple laps in during qualifying, and I mean, a 2nd in any night can't be too upsetting, but Cam was in his own zip code tonight.
Yeah, 38 definitely dominated tonight's race, and when I talked to you last week, in fact, I think you, Cam, and Shane all said that y'all's picks to make it in the Final 4 spot was Tony Osborne, and it actually ended up being the 78 of Festischen fighting his way into the Final 4. What do you think about that one?
He definitely earned it. He was pretty fast all night, drove his ass off, and he just did what he needed to do and put himself in a really good spot there at the end, and looked like he was managing his tires pretty well. So congratulations to him, and I look forward to racing him next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Homestead's definitely going to be a fireworks show next week between the final 4. Congratulations on winning your way in last week and the P2 this week. You got any shout-outs you want to make before I let you go?
Shout out to you for broadcasting as usual. Everybody showing up tonight. Cody, even though he can't race, it sucks, but I mean, that kind of stuff happens, but I hope he can get back out on the track with us soon. My mom, if she's watching, Grace sitting over here next to me, sleeping through half the race. Yeah, I think that's about it. Everybody made the final 4. Cam, Shane, Logan, made the best man win, and we'll see what happens next week.
All right. We'll see you next week. Congrats again on the podium finish this week, Mark Parkhurst.
Thank you.
We've got one more person to talk to currently getting pushed around the track here. Not sure what's going on there with 38. We'll ask him. Hey, Cam, it's Jesse up in the booth. Do you got a copy?
Yes, I do.
What in the world is going on getting a push down pit road here from Shane Fuller after you got the win tonight? Win number 2 on the round, number 8 on the year. How does it feel?
What's going on right now is he's pushing me. I don't know really why. He's just like, you want me to push you in your pit box? And I was like, yeah, sure. So, yeah, we're just kind of having a little bit of a Hendrick Motorsports moment, 2018, I think. But, yeah, honestly, it's super, super fun. You know, I love this track more than most tracks, which is, like I said, ironic since I don't really like, these hard tracks. But going here and, since I know how to drive it pretty well, and I've learned a lot of things from the past driving on this. I think this is one of my most driven tracks, and if not, then I've still learned a lot. And it's always fun coming here. I always have a great time. The car felt amazing, and I knew as soon as it became nighttime, I was like, I'm gonna drop the hammer, man. I'm gonna, do what my dad usually tells me, just go flat out. Now, granted, I didn't actually go flat out because you can't do that with this car here, but I was going at a pretty fast pace, but I wasn't driving the car like as if I was qualifying, and so I was just able to save tires while, going away from the field, and it was really fun. It was a great time.
Yeah, they call it the track too tough to tame, but I think if anyone tamed it tonight, it was definitely you. I mean, I think at the end there you had probably about a 9-second lead across the stripe, and you were kind of able to just put it on cruise control there near the end. Swept both the stages and getting the win. Of course, playoff points don't really matter that much because everybody in the championship 4 comes in with a clean slate, but if anyone's got the momentum heading into next week, it's definitely going to be that 38 car. Do you have any shout-outs you want to make tonight?
Yeah, real quick before the shout-outs. Yeah, 100%. What was I going to say? Hold on, let me think real quick. All right, going to the shout-outs. I don't know what I was going to say. Shout out to my parents, obviously, mom and dad. Mom, I don't think she's home. I don't know exactly where she is. I mean, I know where she is, but I don't know if she's there or home. But if she is watching, it's great. Yeah, I'm glad that you did watch, and of course my dad's watching. He's downstairs on the couch. Dad, I got that win in this nice little 38 Red Bull car, and now I just got one more race left, and then I'll probably just be done with oval racing. So, yeah, it's honestly been a great time being broadcast by you. Shout out to you, obviously, for every single broadcast. I love the consistency. It's great that I can just go back to every single race. Like, in other series that I've raced in, usually they have an off night, which I totally understand. The broadcasters, they have, very important lives as well. But it's just great that, this entire season has been broadcasted, including the preseason race. It's great. Shout out to Cody Moore. Once again, I feel awful about his PC. He definitely would have been that 4th contender. And speaking of 4th contender, shout out to Logan Physician, man. I haven't shouted him out since, Richmond, because now we're ex-teammates. But I've been, racing with him in almost every series since July 2022. And I didn't become close friends with him until last year. And then we had a falling apart, and then just a few weeks ago we became friends again. And it's honestly, I'm so stoked to see him in the championship 4 and fight for this championship. It's genuinely I don't know, it makes me so happy for him. He deserves it. He genuinely has been he can some A word these past few weeks, man. I like, it's genuinely impressed me. He just came out of the nowhere, and he's got way better people to teach him. I'm not a good teacher. I'm not, the best of friends. And so now that he's over there in his own little area, I mean, his own team, not that he owns, but like he joined a team that's just, shout out to him. Logan, if you're watching, I've been honored to be your teammate. I've been honored to be your friend. And it's honestly, it's great that you're in the championship for us. So yeah, shout out to you. And yeah, I don't think. Oh, shout out to my teammates as well. I'm super sorry to both of them. They didn't have the best of days. Darlington was not the best to them, and it showed here. They don't really like this track as much as others, and I honestly understand it. It's a difficult track. I hated it too, but this track really is like a woman. You got to treat it right, and they'll show you respect. That's why they call it the Lady in Black. So yeah, it's great. It is the Lady in Black, right? I think so.
That is a nickname for it. Yep.
I was really concerned there for a second. I just embarrassed myself in front of 20, 30 people. But yeah, it's great, and good momentum. And I think shout out to everybody. I know it isn't the championship, and I haven't won the championship. I'm hoping I will. It's going to be close between Mark. Shout out to Mark too, fighting me this whole season. Shout out to Shane for always being there with us. Shout out to Cody for making this league and being there with us as well. And shout out to all the other racers who have been showing up. Y'all are honestly great. I've honestly had an amazing time at this league. And, I didn't expect this much. I didn't expect to do this well. And I didn't, overall, I didn't know what to expect because I don't drive these cars that often. But getting to learn these guys, getting to know these guys and getting to know this car and these tracks and the whole way they do the fuel and pits and the stages, it's all so well done. And it's been one of the greatest experience I've ever had with league racing, if not the greatest experience. So, yeah, I just, want to say, I guess, thank you for, I know I wasn't selected to be here. I paid to get in as did everyone else, but, it's been an honor. It's been an honor racing and, doing well this entire season. It's great.
Absolutely. Well, everybody out there, make sure to tune in next week to see this guy and the three other guys, Mark Parker, Logan Festchician, and Shane Fuller, battle it out, I believe, under the lights at Homestead next week. Congrats on the win tonight, and we'll see if you can get you one more to make it 9 on the season, along with the chip next week, Mr. Cam Patterson.
I sure hope so. Trying to match Cody's record. That's what I said, I think, at Watkins Glen. But, and yeah, I'll see you next weekend. And if you could you move me down to the Mighty Donut Motorsports channel? Because that's where all the drivers need to be.
I can do that. And we'll see you next week. Congratulations on the win, Cam Patterson.
Thank you, man. I'll see you next week, Jesse.
Alrighty. One more race here in the Donut Box Xfinity Series season number 2. We'll do exactly what we always do to sign off every broadcast. Thank you for tuning in tonight. If you're still here, hit that like button if you haven't done it yet. Hit that subscribe button if you like what you watched and you're ready to tune in next week for the final race of the season to crown a champion. We'll jam out to some music, watch Cam Patterson's Burnout one more time, and thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week.